All right, guys, we're live. No dramas this time getting on screen. Cool. If we do the old fade on that, the music, and I'll get into the intros. Let me see if I can do it. Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah, we can both do it. All right. Well, welcome back to the All Things Aged Care Weekly Wrap-Up. This is a live stream that is brought to you in collaboration with the Australian Aging Agenda, who have generously offered 2 tickets to the 2026 Positive Aging Summit, which is locked in for 21st May in Adelaide at the Hilton. Now, this is an event that drives the importance of reablement in aged care and allied health in aged care. So thank you, Mark Ryu and Natasha Egan, for offering double passes worth $2,000. If you want to purchase tickets ahead of time, head to www.positiveagingsummit.com.au to book your tickets now. And if you do purchase the tickets but happen to win the double pass, I'm sure Mark has confirmed that he will refund your purchase. Now, let's get into the intro. So I'm Anthony Nguyen, host of the Pioneers in Aged Care podcast and aged care recruitment expert. If you're looking for a clinical or a management or an executive position in aged care, reach out to me for a confidential chat about career options or even about a spot on my podcast. Next, we have Robert Covino, founder and CEO of Mirus Australia, a leading voice in aged care innovation and data-driven transformation. He led the creation of technologies like Mirus Metrics and Care Minute Manager, and now Mirus Plus, an AI-powered platform uniting software and data to streamline everything from admissions to compliance. And rounding out our hosting crew is Owen Matheson, strategic connector and founder of Mission Critical Group. He works with owners, boards, and executives with a knack for connecting the right people, opportunities, and capital to unlock growth and drive innovation. He's a natural MC, and Owen will be guiding our conversations, keeping things insightful and full of energy. And our special guest for this week is Nikki Sloan, long-standing CEO of Community Industry Group, which is the peak body for not-for-profit community services across southern New South Wales. She's a prominent advocate and key media voice on issues impacting vulnerable people from aged care to homelessness. Nikki is a champion for social justice. She lends her extensive strategic and governance experience to numerous boards, including Warragul and RDA Illawarra Shoalhaven, to strengthen community organizations and support the families they serve. So, welcome, Nikki.
Thanks for having me.
Let's raise the roof for Nikki, as we do.
Welcome, Nikki.
I'm not going to raise the roof for myself, but I'll do it for anyone else.
And we've been really looking forward to having you, Nikki. I've done my research on this one. I've gone through the Bed Block trilogy, part 1, 2, and 3. Amazing insights of the good work that you're doing at Community Industry Group. For those who don't know, tell us more. Let's start with a little bit of your journey of why Community Industry Group and why aged care, and then let's talk about Community Industry Group and why you do what you do.
Sure. So how I ended up here is, that I'm not sure. I had an early career in the finance sector, and made my way into community services after I had kids and realised that the work I was doing had no soul, and I just wanted to do something that had.
I hear you.
Love that. From the dark side to the light.
Yes, and brought my marketing experience with me to the community sector, where none of that finance or marketing past has ever gone astray. It's always been useful.
I can see you brought it with your colour game right there.
After working in a range of community services, I just found that I have a passion for policy. I think we need to be hard on systems. We need to stand up and speak against systems, and we need to be strong, positive voices for people. So that's how I ended up in a peak body, which is a generalist peak body, quite different to a national or a state-based peak body. because we cover all, as Ant said in his intro, we cover the whole range of human services across the whole of southern New South Wales. Anything south of Sydney, right down to Victoria, we cover those areas.
Is that all?
Just a couple of lectorates as well in there.
I'm
Nikki,
sure you could do more.
And I love that, Nikki, too, because what you bring with the extensive experience in finance and other careers, I mean, that is what makes a lot of the, I think, critical thinking that is required, and bringing that mindset to our industry problems. Whereas this is one of my problems with Canberra. If you grow up as as just a Canberra, person and just working there and not really having the extensive backgrounds, and I even saw this in the Big Four as they changed recruitment strategies, and instead of looking for more accountants and engineers for management consultants, they started to go wider and look for creative people and music and even priests. We had doctors, we had a much wider remit, but then when you bring them into a team, my gosh, the problems and the left field thinking that comes out of those constructs, and that's what we need right now in the sector. So well done.
And speaking of that, it is incredible. Nikki sent me a list, and she said, "Oh yeah, humbly, we formed this interagency task force around this little issue called bed block." Well, first thing, it's not a little issue. It's one of the biggest issues for aged care right now, and it's at a fever pitch in the Illawarra-Wollongong region. So you'll talk about that across your trilogy, and we look forward to your insights there. But the other thing is that it's what was I going to say? The bed blockage issue is a big one, but the size of the task force that you've pulled together. Nikki said, I'll just send you an email and you can tag a few people in the post. This Excel spreadsheet came through with 70 names. So I almost got RSI yesterday typing in all of the different LinkedIn profiles, trying to tag everyone. So thank you, Nikki. I'm recovering slowly. But,
I can see you can still raise the roof, so you're Mr. Okay.
but that is amazing. I mean, tell us about that journey of pulling together an interagency task force of that size, and who's involved and why.
Yeah, sure. So I'll just go back a couple of years, and I took a sabbatical, as I'd said earlier, and went and worked on the establishment of Ageing Australia. And while I was there, I noticed the talk about bed block at a national level was starting to emerge, but all the talk pointed to Illawarra Shoalhaven, which is a big part of our region, being the worst in the country. And so when I came back, I started to ask questions about, well, who's doing something about bed block in our region? Because indeed we are the worst. You're right, it's a critical issue. It is emerging right across the country. We know now 2,500 people bed blocked right now.
Wow.
But yes, we were right at the pointy edge. And when I started to ask, well, I spoke to the New South Wales Health Minister and the CEO of our local health district and said, well, what are you guys doing? And all they're doing was trying to find a bed for people. That's all they could do about it. I went to the aged care sector and they didn't really know about the issue. So I just thought, well, we need to kind of bring some people together to see how we can work on it together. And that was the start of the task force.
Little did you know how big that journey would become.
No idea. We sort of invested a bit of our own money to start off with. We got the fabulous Mark Sewell to come and join us.
We will raise the roof for the fabulous Mark Sewell.
Mark, yeah, absolutely.
He is our guest next week, and we are looking forward to a part 2 of the Bed Block series.
So with Mark, we did some initial research, and we identified that really there were 3 things that we needed to do. Well, actually more, but we sought some funding, and we got funding to do 3 things through the New South Wales Department of Health. And one was the task force, to bring together, and it's our choice who we bring in. And so every time we see a gap, we bring in a new person. So it is big. It is.
That explains the breadth.
Yeah. Wow. But that task force, it's critical that the people who are in that task force are the highest level decision makers. So it is people like the Minister for Health. It is people like the CEO of the local health district, but the Minister for Planning, because as we found out, there were
Paul Scully or Paul Scully.
Minister Paul Scully. Yes, absolutely. He's fabulous.
Thank you, Paul. We will raise the roof for Paul Scully. It's a big help.
I will absolutely, because one of the first things we said to Paul was, we had big developments in our area that never made it through council for various reasons. They didn't make it through. One was indeed a Warragul project. 8 years of trying to get it through would have been a large residential aged care facility. In the end, couldn't get it through. Sold it. It's now a beautiful car yard, but not a great place for people to live.
Isn't it amazing how things turn for the good?
Minister Scully, one of the first things he's done is to make developments now state significant. So it's 25 mil for residential aged care, and it becomes state significant, and every RAC development is over 25 mil. So, having people like him on board makes a big difference.
And you're right in Rob's wheelhouse with that state significant and RAC planning, and he's done a lot of. So we might pick up on that, but I don't want to disrupt your flow around.
You know that I can just talk this stuff.
Oh yeah, no, but we're enjoying the story. There's an amazing. So you're basically saying the minister, and this is the formation of the task force that you're explaining and how it's ended up where it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So as each gap comes, we've filled it. So doctors getting GPs into residential aged care, often, when somebody's been in hospital for a very long time, they lose their GP. So we brought the Primary Health Network in. So CEO of the Primary Health Network is now a member of our task force.
Margot Mains, is that right?
Margot's the local health district. It's Prue Boost, who's the CEO of the Primary Health Network.
Good on you, Prue Boost. We will raise the roof for you as well.
Yes.
And Nick, just for the listeners too, bed blockages, it sounds like an interesting term, but for those that are in healthcare and various areas of it, but what are the ramifications? How far upstream, downstream does this really impact people? And what examples have you seen?
Great question. And thank you for asking, because I know there's some controversy around the name bed block. We do use it. That is a health term. We do use it. I know the department prefers delayed discharge. Some people call it long
discharge.
It's an unfortunate phrase.
And some people call it long stay older patients. I don't care what you call it. For me and for us, it's all about older people and people with disability who are stuck in hospital because there is no safe place for them to go and live. They don't need hospital care anymore. And we've done intensive research with Professor Kathy Eager as our research partner, along with Paul Sadler, looking at the aged care.
Paul's a friend of the show. We love Paul.
Yeah. Another one we love.
And Kathy led the RUC studies as well. So Kathy, another Wollongong uni fellow. So yes, I'm just up the hill in the Highlands, so not too far. So
just up the road.
Just up the road.
And we're going to do that call out right now. Professor Kathy Eager, we would love you on the show. We've heard good things about you. You've been dobbed in.
She's great, and she'll be back from Bali very, very soon. She lives half of her life in Bali now.
Tough life.
That sounds like a tough life.
Stay strong.
She's doing research up there with that side of it. Well, Nikki, it's interesting because like the healthcare job when I came to Australia was actually doing patient journey design work. So I sort of thrust in from an IBM role and then joined one of the Big Four. And I love the fact this Big Four practice had a dedicated healthcare team. So rolled out and was at Westmead Children's Hospital under Dr. Robert Holliday for a while, looking at that, and I could see literally it's like supply chain logistics. Some of the backups happen from something as simple as a surgeon not inform a family that's driving in from Dubbo, to then admit on a Friday that the procedure's been moved to a Tuesday. So they've been admitted, but now they're in the hospital, and that is effectively part of the time clock on it. But then those little nuances and ripple effects that sort of gravitate out, it just goes all the way through to even one of colleagues I was speaking to was telling me his mother has had a cancer procedure like delayed now for months because of this this event, and it is, I would say, it would be a procedure that is of urgency, but it's just of a critical nature now. So that was a new, I guess, eye-opening, and it made me reflect more on just the little efficiency items and how small they can be. But I guess that's how complex this problem is, isn't it? Or what have you found in a lot of this research around the long, delayed stays for that?
We've researched now about 1,150 older people. We found that the average stay in hospital for a regular person is 4.5 days. For an older person, it's 66, and that's average.
Way too long. Yeah,
they go up well in excess of 400 days for some people with very complex issues. We know now that it's 32 days before they're even getting an ACAT assessment. And then from there, it's an average of 34 before they're able to find a residential aged care.
Explain an ACAT assessment, just for those who might not know, for whatever reason.
Oh, yes. So that is an aged care assessment. So that is really looking at somebody who is going to need support when they leave the hospital. An ACAT assessment generally is done when we're going to move them into residential aged care. So it does tell the kind of care that they're going to need, and whether they actually need residential care with 24/7 supports around them.
I'd like to jump there in Bed Block Part 3 for those who are staying tuned and want to engage. Tanya Southworth and her amazing team with the STARS program. We should definitely give a shout out to Tanya.
Absolutely.
Tanya.
And the staff and the volunteers.
Volunteers. 19 or 18 of them, is that right?
Yeah, I think we're above 20 now, doing amazing.
Wow, we've cracked the double digits, and it's amazing work they're doing. It's the first in the country, or one of.
Yeah, so this was another one that the New South Wales government, the Ministry of Health, funded as part of the package. So task force, the research, and trialling this STARS program, which matches a really experienced aged care professional, or even just somebody who's supported somebody else in their family, who really understands the aged care system, working one-on-one with a person who's in bed block. We're finding that if you get matched with a STARS volunteer, it's about 14 days before you're moved out.
That's a significant improvement. That's brilliant.
Really significant.
I also heard that it was, I don't know what the current number is, but of 18 that you received as applicants, 14 have already been transitioned, or it might be higher now. It's a really high conversion rate.
Yes, it is. It's sitting about, I think we've had about 50 referrals now. And yeah, we're sitting about 65% within 14 days are out. We're getting all of our referrals out, but yeah, 14 days.
Well, we are definitely going to raise the roof for the STARS referral team. That is 65%.
Yes.
They are batting well above the average.
Yes,
So, Nikki,
they
how do
are.
we do more of that? How do we help them more
Yeah.
stars? What could be done, or what do you see? Because that's an amazing initiative with some great results. And how do we
Look,
do more of that?
one of the things, because of all of the work that's been done in this region, and with the support of our amazing local MPs, we actually got the aged care minister here earlier this week, and
Minister Sam Ray, the
Caroline,
new aged care minister, he's
that's
got a big job ahead of him. Did you go easy on him, Nikki?
I'm always ruthless with what is it? Ruthless with systems and kind with people. So
There
we're
you go.
very
So not
kind.
the other way around. That's good.
No. We're very kind with the minister, but we absolutely gave him some recommendations, and one of them is we said we need a national task force on bed block. This we've got a proof of concept here in this region, but this is a national issue. It's only going to exacerbate. As Rob said, it impacts the people in the system, but it actually has a flow-on effect for the whole community and their health needs. And we said to the minister, you need a national task force to tackle this one.
So this is the opportunity, Nikki, the call out. Who are you calling out about this national task force right here, right now?
Absolutely. Minister Sam Ray, Minister Mark Butler, I need you to authorise this. You pull the people together. We can show you how it's been done in this region and how we could be doing it across the nation.
That sounds like a fantastic opportunity for Minister Mark Butler to engage. We look forward to hearing from you, Minister, and your amazing team, because there's a really great model on the ground. You've already proven it up, that the interagency task force works. You've spent years filling the gaps to make sure that it's comprehensive. So you really believe that this could be quite easily replicated now at a national level?
I do. I absolutely do. And we know that Minister Butler is the Minister for Health, Disability and Ageing, and all of those groups are impacted by bed block.
Absolutely.
It's that easy. So we definitely welcome you to the Illawarra region. You'll have a personal chaperone with Nikki, Mark Sewell, and the Interagency Task Force.
Yes, absolutely. We will once again invite the Minister when we hold our task force again in November.
Now, Nikki, are you across some of the providers have also been taking a nice collaboration around this? And, specifically, also we've got a CEO backstage that we'll be bringing out shortly to probably talk a little bit about this, but it's collaborative healthcare initiative. So Whitten's Chris Marbelosis created a collaborative healthcare initiative with a number of pilot solutions and certainly tackling this. And he's managed to get a number of providers on board, some small ones like RFBI, IRT, Uniting, Bupa,
Shout out to
Estia,
Frank Price,
just a couple of them.
backstage there.
Oh, you gave it away.
Frank
That's good.
is
Bring
in
them
the
out
green
there.
room.
These are great initiatives. How else can we continue this collaboration, or what else can I guess, the national side of it is one thing, but aged care, I always see as part of a big solution to this, because we have the staff that are trained and can deal with some of this complex and higher compounding factor type healthcare needs of these patients. We have the infrastructure already built in a lot of these facilities to care for this environment. But in your opinion, what is holding back, or what do you want to see more of out there that we can also continue to endorse and push?
Absolutely. And our providers, our wonderful members are absolutely part of the task force, have been from the very start, and have moved mountains to try and get more people out of bed block and into their homes. But as I said, we've got Paul Sadler doing research for us, and what Paul's identified is we are 1,025 beds short in this region today. 1,025. Now, there was all those developments that didn't get built.
We've had a
whole heap of beds that were closed. we have had no net increase in aged care beds in 10 years across this region. We need 1,025 today, and we need 20% uplift to meet, our expected demand. And we know that's not going to happen in the short term. So our providers are doing amazing things to shorten the length of time between somebody departing and someone coming in. They are doing work about bringing more people from the hospital. We next week start working with our home care providers to look at, well, how can we actually get people home safe and supported, either for the long term or even for the period that they're waiting for residential care. So they're not in hospital, so that they're in a better environment, so they're not getting moved around. I mean, if I tell you the patient journey, and I know this is something you've researched, their patient journeys are tragic. They are getting moved 4 times. Now, if you've got any kind of cognitive impairment,
so unsettling. Wow.
moving,
Yeah.
it'll exacerbate. It'll exacerbate my behaviours. Never mind.
I'm feeling it right now, Nikki. That pure, tangible exacerbation. Margot Mains in the Bed Block Part 1 feels like a great movie series to watch, doesn't it? The trilogy. Bed Block coming soon to a cinema near you. She talks about all of the disjointed, broken parts of the system, and Rob knows it well. We were talking about it before the show, but that interview and what she talks about, the fact that if the beds are full and you've got an emergency department and that's full, and then you have an ambulance arrive, they're full, and they can't move on or respond to new situations because they're stuck in the car park. And then you've got the elective surgery turning up, and they're backed up behind the ambulances, which are backed up behind the emergency department, which are backed up behind the what do they call them? The intermittent
surgeries or intermittent beds.
Beds. Yeah. So you've got this compounding problem. But then you've got a really great, smart group of people that have worked out of 3,000 odd patients in your area, 2,500 are being seen now outside of the hospital.
Yes. One of the great initiatives is the ACOS scheme, which is about trying to prevent people having, particularly older people, having to come to hospital. So it's an outreach scheme, goes particularly into residential aged care. If you've got somebody in your facility, you think they might need to go to hospital, instead the hospital comes to you. It is a brilliant scheme. It is so good. It is so much better for the older person not to have to go to hospital and be exposed to all of those risks that we have when you go to hospital. That's having a great success. So there are many elements to what we're doing to try and reduce the numbers. This is why we need that whole of community task force to address it.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but there's 4,000 beds in your area, but you need 5,000. That's basically what the report from Paul Sadler is saying.
Yes, we need 5,000 today.
And growing, it was also saying that Wollongong is one of the faster growing regions for a number of reasons: retirement, cost of living, industry opportunity, etc. So that's compounding. I think you were saying at 20 or 40%. It's a big number, and so the gap's widening. So you really need this relief that's going to come through structural changes of moving from councils to state significant planning to free up the pipeline of beds needed. Is that?
Yes, absolutely. We'll be doing a range of things to try and attract more residential aged care into our region. We're doing a FAMIL early next year. One of the issues, of course, Wollongong is a beautiful place to come and retire. The South Coast is a gorgeous place to come and retire.
It's quite the scenic route, I must say. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is why we have so many older people in our region. It's and growing. So yes, one of the issues though is that it's quite developed. So finding parcels of land that are big enough to put residential aged care on is a challenge. So we'll be doing a FAMIL early next year, looking at working with council and car parks, looking at religious institutions, because they typically have very large blocks of very well located land, and also bowling clubs and those kinds of facilities. How can we work together that we could perhaps be delivering both on the same site? We could easily have a council car park with at residential aged care above it. We could have a bowling club with residential aged care above it.
Absolutely. If you love
Hey,
your
we're
bowling,
just jumping on to the next part of sorry guys. We're jumping on to the next part of the show, guys. We've got 3 people backstage: Kim Davis, Frank Price, and Mark Sewell. Everyone gets about between
legends.
5 and 10. All legends, 5 to 10 minutes each, depending on how many others jump on. Call to action for those watching. If you want to jump on with us, click that link. Link is right here. If you want to click that link, jump on with us. But yeah, first up, we have Kim Davis, a friendly face of the show.
Hey guys.
Welcome
From
from
Hello,
Timeville.
Kim. How are
Shout
you?
out.
Always
Hot
good to see
Dental,
you.
yeah. This is a great discussion, and really my experience over the last 2 weeks is right up there. So my dad's gone into palliative care in the last week or so. And, from a positive point of view, it's reinforced my admiration and appreciation for the work that our staff do. Honestly, caring for someone in their last days is such a special thing.
Absolutely.
It also increased my frustration over the aged care system and to a certain extent the health system. But we were very lucky that he didn't have to sit around as a bed blocker in hospital, that my sister was able to take him into her home for palliative care in the home. So, I can very much see this is a real issue. He didn't have anywhere to go to, so he was sitting in acute care. We talked to, or the nursing staff talked to my aged care to see if they could hasten some home care for him to support my sister in just providing that day-to-day care. And we were told that he hadn't been sick long enough and didn't have quite the number of disabilities to warrant an urgent assessment. So, this sort of stuff is disgusting. But look, aside from that, I did have a question for Nikki. So with the upcoming supported home program and the single assessment service and the delays that people are experiencing, even getting an assessment, let alone waiting for home care, do you think that's going to have a negative impact on, or a positive impact on the numbers?
Absolutely. It was one of our messages to the Minister when we met him on Monday, was our concerns about what's going to happen post 1 November. We've already got significant, as everybody has across the region, significant delays in getting assessments done. That's only going to get worse, particularly when the lack of flexibility comes into home care packages and the need for constant reassessment. So yes, that was a key part of our lobbying to the Minister, that this needs to be changed really quickly, because it's going to have catastrophic impacts in our region and in all regions, I would argue.
We definitely feel for you, Kim, that you're having to work with a system that feels very inflexible in terms of dad's needs. That's quite ridiculous, isn't it, Nikki? That he doesn't have enough health conditions to warrant
Yeah.
support that he's entering palliative.
Yeah, and as a provider, this is the first time I've been on that end of the stick, so I think it's probably enhanced my appreciation of the work that we actually do. But
Absolutely.
yeah, and you mentioned the flow-on effect that bed block has onto the rest of the health system and elective surgeries. What we see is the longer people have delayed elective surgeries, that increases their needs and increases pressure on the services that we have to provide, with limited staff. So it really is an ecosystem. So I think the work that Nikki and the task force are doing is remarkable, and those figures that you're achieving already is that's amazing. It should be
Thank you, Nikki, and the task force. Yeah, we definitely raised the roof for you. And name the task force for it. It's the regional. There's
health and aged care. Yeah, regional health and aged care. Regional health and aged care interagency task force.
There it is. Regional health and aged care interagency task force. It's that easy for those playing at home.
One of those acronyms. It's better than I.
Not easy for me.
Your mission, if you choose to accept, to learn this. And you've got Kim, 70 people having to repeat that in their emails and voicemail.
Absolutely. And Kim, thank you for.
Kim raises a real issue because she talks about the work that she's been doing and her sister, and fortunately that her sister has been able to care for her father. But we are off to see the New South Wales Minister for Seniors and for Women, because we are arguing that this is actually disproportionately impacting women. Certainly, we know from our patient journey that it's disproportionately impacting older women in hospital, but actually also in terms of the family and the supports that are being offered as well. So we are off to raise that with the New South Wales Minister for Seniors and Women.
I think.
What are the numbers on that? Sorry, Kim, I do want to hear your response. But just paint a picture for us, Nikki. What's the disproportion to women there?
I think it's about 78% of women who experience the bed block compared to men. And I mean, that's often, there's a whole range of issues behind that that we could really unpack around. Often, a wife being a carer for a husband, but then when the husband passes, the wife is sort of on their own, and that's, they end up not being able to go home. And certainly we know that men and sons can be wonderful supporters for their parents, but generally it is the daughters who take on more of that caring role. So
I think it's Kate Carnell is leading a lot of discussion in that space. I think, is it the Violet Foundation or Kate Carnell? She used to be the ACT Chief Minister many moons ago. Yeah. But
I mean, it's something I would recommend. And Kim, what you're doing too with her father, I mean, I've experienced that with my wife's father. We palliated him for 13 days, and it was probably the most amazing experience for the family. And it also brought closure to a point where I think for 10 years he had Parkinson's, which became a Lewy body, and that's a very challenging disease progression to understand and deal with. But I think after you react to that for so long, and then having those 13 days where you're really in control of everything at that point, and it was a real piece of closure. So I wish you well in that journey, and thoughts will be with you.
Yeah,
please keep us posted on that journey, Kim. We want to see you supported, and I have no doubt Nikki and her team could potentially support you there in their amazing STARS program, which is really breaking new ground. And I believe Mark Sewell's a part of that STARS program. Is that right?
Say bye to Kim. Raise the roof for her. Thank you for coming on every week.
Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you, Kim.
Take care. Come back soon.
All right.
And that was a seamless segue to
Mark Sewell is up next. How you going, Mark?
Hello,
Good.
Mark.
How are
Raise the
you?
roof for Mark. We love Mark.
Yeah, go Mark.
And it looks
Sonny
like you're doing it
Wollongong.
tough there, Mark.
Sorry, I'm doing the
It looks like
gardening.
yeah, you're doing it tough there.
Yeah. It's I can't fit inside the house, so you got to be outside.
So you're in the garden of tranquility.
Yes, we all need a garden of tranquility as they get older. I'm 65 now, so I've entered the era of
I wouldn't have
tranquility.
believed that if you hadn't have told me, Mark. So
Perfect answer.
Tell us about your journey as the dynamic duo with you and Nikki. Where did it begin?
In a car park, I was retiring and telling her how I was going to spend my days in the park playing with the grandkids, and she said, "No, you're not. I think you and I should team up and use your aged care experience and my and her great connections right across the political and regional landscape, and let's see if we can solve or improve some of this bed block situation, because in fact most of Australia is discovering it now, but the Illawarra, particularly Nikki and I, have been chatting about it for more than 4 years. We experienced it first, and of course now everyone thinks it's arrived for them, but we've actually been tackling this problem for ages. And it may have been much, much worse in this region for the nearly 750,000 people who live in this region, except that Nikki and her team, and I'm doing a bit of help there, to moderate the results. So actually, hopefully, we've stabilised it, at least for our region, for a while.
Well, we are going to raise the roof for Community Industry Group. For those tuning in, you've got their fearless leader, Nikki Sloan, in the house. And one more time for everyone at home, the Regional and Health and Aged Care Interagency Task Force. Is that right, Nikki?
That's correct.
So I don't know if you want to have a go at that one too, Mark.
Oh no, I just say the task force. Anything Nikki does,
Yeah.
anything Nikki does, I'm happy to. In fact, really, she's made the very good point that Nikki often hates meetings and discussions and forums. She really likes action initiatives and action committees, and the word task force means every single party on this task force, about 20 different stakeholders, all have a task, and they need to be a force to be reckoned with to get it done. Because, people like me, in this era, we don't need another 20 years planning what we're going to do. We need to get these things happening now. My own mum and dad died during COVID. My mother-in-law, I'm helping her at home. She's 94, and it's awful, frightening for her. And her husband, my father-in-law, died 2 years ago at 91. And they can't wait. They can't wait for 5 years of planning and another 5 years of slow system development. There's an awful lot of older people now in Australia who need these solutions.
And we talked about a widening gap, and you're very focused on this. Maybe give a prelude. Mark is our guest next week, but give people a taste of what to expect and what you would like to talk about from your episode of Bed Block Part 2 for those who would like to do the research.
Well, I'm good at asking questions. So I want to know, how did we get to this point? Why is it that we don't even know that we've got a huge number of older people turning 80, and they were born 80 years ago, and we've done no planning? How could the Australian economy and society be absolutely shocked? We've got 1 million more older people coming in the next 15 years. I've had a chance to look around the world too, in study tours into aged care in Japan, Britain and the US, and there's pretty awful effects if you don't plan ahead, and there's some dreadful things coming if we don't do some things. And in fact, I wish there was one silver bullet. I wish there was one thing we could do, but actually it's a lot of different things. Because one of the worst things you can possibly do is to say that everyone over 80 is the same and they all want the same thing and they need the same thing. That's a lie. Everyone over 80 is an individual person with individual needs. So the solutions need to be really, really varied. And we could do some really creative things in Australia if we get all the different players together and design a system that suits everyone's individual preferences. But we need to have a lot of system solutions, not just a one-size-fits-all solution and for any of this. So I'd like to be talking a bit about that next week.
Beautiful. That'll be exciting. I remember
Well,
it's a good point to
stay
make.
tuned. It's going to be a cracker.
Stay tuned.
So get in early. If you want to come backstage, Mark is going to be stirring it up. He's very passionate about freeing up the system. And look, Nikki's given her task force a lot of homework to do, and she is watching. So,
well, Ant, I think we also have another CEO from the region.
I want to say
backstage.
We'll add on Frank Price now. Thank you so much, Mark. We'll see you next week.
thank
Thanks,
you, Mark.
Mark.
We look forward to next week. And Nikki,
right.
is there anything else you would like to say about Frank and his role in your task force?
Well, I would say Frank is one of our fabulous aged care providers who's come together as part of this task force. They've shared their ideas, they've shared their experience. Frank was with us on Monday when we met with the minister and really spoke about his experience and his frustrations around developing more aged care in our region. But I'll pass it over to Frank. He says it far more eloquently than I can.
So, Frank, this is a safe place. What would you really like to say?
Firstly, I want to say I'm a Johnny come lately to the task force, so my involvement has been negligible. But with Nikki and Mark at the helm, I think it's in good hands, and I think if anyone can make change happen, especially with the challenges that the Illawarra is facing, these two people are the ones that will make it happen. And it was kudos to have the minister come and visit Wollongong. In fact, the facility that they came to was literally 5 minutes from my house, which was a bonus.
That is. And did you have any hand in that, Frank?
None at all. No. I was a guest. And I was a guest. But the challenge
all that way.
The challenge.
And I must say that the choice of venue was actually the choice of our lovely, wonderful local MP, Alison Burns MP.
We should give a shout out to Alison Byrne. I believe she's a member of the task force as well. Proactive.
Yes, absolute champion. And chose a facility, not one of the shiny brand new ones, but a facility that is 60 years old and is a prime example of one that probably won't last the distance for too much longer.
And that was the challenge. So the minister asked the question, what can we do right now to alleviate the issue with the bed blocks? And a lot of good ideas came out. And I think that if we can get half of them happening, it'll make a dent in where we're at the moment. My concern was that in 3 to 5 years from now, once that works through the system, we'll find ourselves in exactly the same situation. So what we really need to do is we need to basically build more beds, make more aged care facilities available. I was a little concerned when I read an article in the media saying that the Minister Butler had said it's time for aged care providers to now put their money where their mouth is and build more beds. And I posed the question, whose responsibility is it to ensure there's enough beds available to meet the needs? Mark said earlier, it's no surprise that we've got all these people needing aged care. That should never have been a surprise to anyone. Is it the provider's responsibility to go and build more beds? Or is the provider's responsibility to provide good quality care to the residents who need it?
Yeah.
So we identified some of the challenges for providers. I mean, we at RFBI, we don't have a presence in or not in the Wollongong area. We're down south in Berry. But we're trying to find, we're talking to a host of individuals we're talking to council on surplus land. We're talking to a church group. We're talking to state government. We're talking to individual landowners. But at the end of the day, we're up against developers. We're up against people with much deeper pockets who will make greater returns by building, a hit and run. Come in, build it and leave, sell it and leave. We're there for the long haul. Aged care providers are there for the long haul. So we've identified different ways in which the layers of government can work together to ensure that there's an inducement or an encouragement for providers to actually build. And one of the suggestions that came up, which I thought was fantastic, and annoyed with myself for not coming up with it when I posed the question to the minister, and that was, when there's a new zoning or when there's a new development, you need to put land aside for parks. You need to put land aside for schools. You need to put land aside for different types of industries. But there's never any discussion about putting land aside for aged care or retirement living, or preferably a combined service offering. So that would be a great step forward.
Such a simple, practical consideration as part of your master plan. We've got an aging community. How are we providing for them?
Let's allow for it. And if we allow for it, then it's the aged care providers are competing amongst themselves to provide for it, rather than competing with, I say developers, but it could be anyone really, for whatever other purpose.
And Nikki made a distinction, which I know Mark makes as well, that if it moves to state significant planning, you've got more of a chance for it to be considered properly and evenly, as opposed to local council, which is not equipped to deal with those more strategic implications. Is that kind of your experience as an operator?
It really comes down to the cost of the project and the location for it to qualify. In our case, we've had mixed success. With some councils, we get through very quickly, and others we go to SSDA because we're hitting a brick wall when we try to go through the council. But the council still has quite an impact with an SSDA because they need to be considered. If they are against that proposal, if they have issues with the proposal, their issues need to be considered, and in many cases could delay the project.
One thing that Nikki mentioned is 600 beds that you've lost in the region at a time when you need 1,025.
And
how does that happen?
And what Nikki identified with the site we went to with the minister was that it was a 60-year-old site. I identified one we've got in Goulburn, which is not too much younger than that. And we've got to decide, as the provider where we were on Monday has to decide, what do we do with that site at a point in time when it is no longer suitable for the provision of care? And for us, it's either retirement or aged care, and retirement has a much better return on the investment than aged care has. And as an example, the previous aged care minister, Annika Wells, was espousing the benefit of, or the value of having a small household model, and saying that the resident receives a much better, high quality level of care. So if we make a decision to build a small household model, and then what happened was they redefined what an aged care worker was, or what a care worker was for care minutes perspective, and basically they removed the small household model of care from that definition. So it's gone from the best level of care to now no longer being qualified as care, which means it ceases to be a viable proposition. So we need consistency in our policies as well.
100%. I mean, and speaking about policies too, Frank, I mean, South Australia's had a pretty big initiative of catching up with Luke Reeves from Infinite Care. I know Lutheran has a couple homes under this, but the CAPS program down there. Can you talk a little bit about that, and if that's part of, I guess, what New South Wales is also looking at?
I'm sorry, Robert, I'm not across that. Do you want to tell me?
Oh yeah, the CAPS program is effectively like a restorative or transitional support, but it's done through, as I understand it, a little bit of the federal funding that's returned. So the ANAC has to go back, but the provider or the state will pay the aged care provider a fixed rate for a bed, whether it's occupied or not. And those beds are effectively reserved as a transition patient bed. And so for those groups, it just helps stabilize some of those sites that you may have lower occupancy levels, or maybe a stock that's not as up with the times as some of the more modern stock or other parts of your portfolio. So Luke was just sharing with me that it's actually been very good for them because it supports some of their older assets and parts of Mount Buller and so forth. But it seems to be a new state-based initiative again, rather than a national coordinated, which Nikki was talking about just before you joined on that front. But I was wondering if there are also other state-based initiatives that that you're aware of that the states are working on, but then ultimately this should lead to a national movement. We should
Of course,
standardize this
it
approach.
has to be.
Support
But
all.
not to my knowledge. The challenge we would face in the Illawarra in the Illawarra region and Wollongong in particular is that we don't have any spare beds. So even if we had the initiative in place, we're operating at 100% capacity. That's right, Nikki, with your experience talking to other providers.
Yes, absolutely. We know that our providers are operating completely. There is no vacancy across our region. But to your point, Rob, one of our recommendations, and certainly one that we put to the Minister on Monday, was we need an interim care facility. So very similar to what you were talking about. We've identified a site, the only site in the region that would be appropriate for that. There is a decommissioned residential facility at the moment that could be converted to an interim care facility, but when it requires some support from the federal government as well as the state government. But yeah, our state government is not, the New South Wales government is not keen on delivering aged care, but this interim care model would get people out of hospital wards and into a more appropriate facility with more specialist aged care.
We need more of that, and you're right. It is a multi-faceted, multi-filler approach. Even we were looking at something just before COVID with Chris Baines and the Source with as a data aggregator. We have about half the industry's available beds in there, but in that element, there are some sites where there is stock, but it's more about how do you present those insights in a framework that could go to a discharge planner, but really just to encourage the conversation. Know that there may be 2 available beds in a dementia support wing or in more of a generalistic hostel wing, because placing the right patient into a residential site does require that pre-admission element. But unfortunately, at that time, right when it was getting traction and we were starting to take this to the market, it became sort of swamped by the whole COVID, and then with taking residents into the hospital was a very it became very challenging, very taboo, and I think everyone was so focused on unfortunately the Newmarsh House and what the media was putting up around around these outbreaks, and it sat there. But I'm hopeful, with a lot of some of the initiatives with Chris and also the great work all of you are doing. There's not just one; it's got to be many ideas and many ways, because I just think back to Peter Costello's presentations of remember the coffin graphs where he was showing this aging population coming, and then Frank, to your point, that was all the rage 12 to 15 years ago. But we seem to have said, 2025 just got here, and we're a little bit behind the 8 ball, it feels. So but no, thank you for doing what you do with all of those initiatives and continuing
absolutely that. Raise the roof for the amazing people of the
We're hitting the end of the show, guys. So while our arms are up, let's raise the roof again for Nikki, Frank, and Mark, and Kim. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
And we'll see you.
And before we go, if we may, Nikki always asks a great question, which is, what matters to you about community, Nikki?
What matter? Oh, you're going to ask me that question?
Oh, absolutely, because you do it to everyone, and they always go, "Oh, that's a great question."
Yes. So what matters to me in community is equity and fairness, and I want everybody to receive the care they need, whoever they are, wherever they are, whatever their socioeconomic. What matters to me is fairness and justice for all.
Love that. And on that point, if I may, we are now officially known as the 3 Musketeers of aged care, together, making aged care better. So
we'll work on that outro. But
we'll get some on that. But
Can you ride
we-
down and brandish your sword for me?
Yes,
I
we'll
mean,
get those, the feather and the cap and all.
your powers
All right.
combined.
Wrap it up, guys.
Monster.
See you.
Dun, dun, dun.